There we go. You ready to go?
Unmute it all. It's still muted.
There you go. You're welcome.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Village of Ruidoso and the City of Ruidoso Downs Wastewater Treatment Plant Joint Use Board. I'll call this meeting to order. Can we have a roll call, please, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Chair Crawford.
Here.
Counselor Salas.
Here.
Mayor Holman.
Here.
Joey Jarvis.
Here.
Counselor Jackson.
Here.
All right, thank you, everyone. We have, can I get a motion for approval of the agenda today, please?
Mr. Chairman, move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counselor Jackson.
Aye.
Joey Jarvis.
Aye.
Mayor Holman.
Aye.
Counselor Salas.
Aye.
Chair Crawford.
Aye. Item number one, discussion and possible action on approval of minutes October 19th, 2022 regular meeting.
Mayor, I move to approve the minutes from October 19, 2020 as submitted. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Salas.
Aye.
Counselor Jackson.
Aye.
Mayor Holman.
Aye.
Joey Jarvis.
Aye.
Counselor Crawford.
Aye. Item number two, discussion and possible action on change order number one with AUI Inc. for hazard mitigation project requesting an increase in the amount of $92,781.57, including gross receipts tax, and an additional 15 calendar days to December 24th, 2023. Yes, sir, Mr. Adam.
Chair Crawford, members of the board, this is a change order for some additional work that was brought forward from number one, the restoration phase of this project. One of the manholes was left out because AU wasn't AUI at the time, but the hazard mitigation portion was actually going to be there. So it's to install one of the manholes on Fox Drive. Another addition is to install remove one manhole and install another one on between Singing Pines and Main Road at location A is what we call it. Mm-hmm. And then the other piece of this is after the design was completed, one of the homeowners had built some stairs. So this is also to take those stairs out because the contractor feels that they cannot do the project without these stairs being removed.
Okay, and it's in the floodplain?
Yes, sir.
What's going to be done about the stairs afterwards? Are we responsible for putting them back in, or because they're in the floodplain, they're
in the floodplain, I believe they're responsible for the.
Okay, they'll have to do them themselves.
Yes.
On replacing that one manhole in AA, it's in the same location.
It's
or
right in
you're
front.
moving it, right? Or
They're moving it up just a little bit.
Okay.
The original scope called out for the whole mitigation of the whole property. You know, they're gonna dig down and put the wing walls and stuff like that. Well, being when the bids came in, you know, they came in high, so we narrowed the scope of work down, and that phase will actually be part of another restoration phase of the river. So that scope was taken out, and we can't leave that manhole as it sits right now. It's got to be moved over, then armored, and it goes down.
okay.
All right. So I know you've been in contact with Chris, and all this is, I know we've looked at this many times. And so AUI through Molson.
Yes.
Does anyone else have any additional questions? As much as we love change orders, this one will come out in the next process. Okay? And this, again, is in the village's portion of the sewer line mitigation repair replacement process.
Yes.
So if we don't have any other questions, I entertain a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, move to approve action on change order number one with AUI Inc. for hazard mitigation project requesting an increase in the amount of $92,781.57, including gross receipts tax and an additional 15 calendar days to December 24, 2023. Second.
Okay. Final discussion? Roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Jackson.
Aye.
Counselor Salas.
Aye.
Mayor Holman.
Aye.
Joey Jarvis.
Aye.
Chair Crawford.
Aye. Item number three is discussion and possible action on change order number 4 with Smithco Construction in the amount of $90,310.55, including gross receipts tax, and requesting an additional 135 calendar days to February the 27th, 2023.
Chair Crawford, members of the board, this is to finish the Circle lift station. As you know, there were some things that came up with the Circle lift station and the control panel. This is for Smithco to remobilize their supplemental costs for their insurances and stuff like that, and then the days actually go back to October. So it's not.
So the clock's already started in
Clock's already
October?
started. We're just making up those days from their final contract date to make it up till the end of February.
End of February.
Okay, is everybody familiar with this? It's down there by the river on the
Yep.
Stinson property? Okay. No discussion, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, move to approve change order number 4 with Smithco Construction in the amount of $90,310.55, including gross receipts tax and request, and an additional 135 days, calendar days to February 27, 2023.
I'll second that.
Final discussion? Roll call, please.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Counselor Salas,
Aye.
Mayor Holman,
Aye.
Joey Jarvis,
Aye.
Chair Crawford.
Aye. Item number 4 is discussion and possible action on first renewal agreement with Mosen Corbin and Associates, Inc. for professional engineering services, RFP 2022-006P for the water resource projects. Yes, ma'am, Ashley?
Chair Crawford and members of the board, so this is just going to be a first renewal agreement with Mosen Corbin. This renewal agreement will be from February 8th, 2023 through February 7th, 2024. The part that's going to be impacting the original wastewater treatment plant is going to be the vice pre-inspection memorandum. Once that is completed, we will be done with that part.
Okay, everybody's caught up to speed on the fine screens and
Yes.
headworks to the plant?
Fine screens, but a question, Mr. Chair, on the term, actually you mentioned 23 to 24, but here it says February 8, 2022 through February 7, 2023, so I'm sure that's just a,
Item number 4, under contracts and good services,
okay.
and this is the final, but the date should reflect the current contract. Okay, so we need to modify that. Would you make note of that?
Yeah, page 60 has it correct.
Oh, page 60
Okay,
does?
Page 60.
My pages are cut off, so it's, I don't know.
Yeah, mine are
It's just the
too.
second one behind the item. Is that correct?
Okay, I got it. You could strike it.
Okay. So we should be good.
Yeah, 'cause
Okay.
this is, I was looking at the contract, and then this is the first renewal agreement.
Correct.
Okay,
I had an inquiry, Mr. Chairman. In the motion for approval, should it also reflect that this agreement is only to complete existing projects under contract, and additional work will not be awarded under this contract, because it's for a full year? That's under the item discussion, and the motion is wide open, so.
'cause I know we are making changes. It would be up to us, because I know where you're going with this. I don't know.
Any task order would have to come before. us
Any
anyway.
task order has to come before us anyway, so I don't think we have to be specific
That
in
adds anything.
naming. Is that correct, Chris? Okay.
Chairman Crawford, members of the board, this will just conclude we'll do the fine screens project, and then that'll be concluded on there. So any other action we would have to, we're going to RFP any other projects.
Correct.
Mr. Chairman, given that point of clarification, I move to approval of the first renewal agreement with Molson Corbin and Associates, Inc. for professional engineering services, RFP 2022-006P, as in Paul, for water resource projects.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? Being none, roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Joey Jarvis,
Aye.
Mayor Holman,
Aye.
Counselor Salas,
No.
Chair Crawford.
Got you off guard,
You
didn't
threw
you?
me off.
Aye. Thank you, Ashley. Item number 5, Isaac, it's your turn, my man. Monthly report on regional wastewater treatment plant.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, mayor, councilors. So, we actually did good in the month of November. We passed everything. Our flows were still pretty low, considering that, there was a Thanksgiving during this month. We did have a normal weekend, 1.86, 1.73 on that weekend. But we did average out to 1.60, which is pretty low. If there would have been snow, I think there would have been a lot more people. We're definitely seeing more people right now as we speak, as far as flows go. We still met our 99% removal of BOD and TSS, so we're running pretty good. We did do some fog samples. The Mountain Gods was 25.7, Palmer Loop was 23.7. The cord was a little bit higher than normal. I just like to note that, they came out at 21.3, and I don't know if that's maybe because of people pouring grease down the drain, or. Sorry about that. The plant was a 33.3 altogether, and what we do, just to clarify how we get you guys the cords numbers, is we take a sample from our metering station, and we take a sample from a manhole in the Williams field before it comes into our lift station, and we subtract that number from our metering station, and that's how we get the cords contribution as far as fog goes.
Okay,
And I just wanted to let you guys know about that.
thank you for that.
Yes, sir. Other than that, I mean, we passed our nitrogen and phosphorus for November. I actually have to run samples myself tomorrow to Albuquerque for phosphorus and nitrogen for the month of December.
Are we doing that just purely out of making sure it gets there on time, or are we still shortage on couriers?
Because we had, the lab gave us higher, that we're out of compliance at the beginning of this month, so we're retesting, and we'll take an average of those results and, hopefully pass. All I can think of is it's the cold, the infiltration, that's messing with our nitrogen and phosphorus removal. I'm thinking that we will pass, but that's on the lab. Sometimes the lab, just like every other lab, gives oddball numbers. I mean, nothing's a perfect science, so that's why, to make sure, I'm taking on myself tomorrow, and we will get these constituents run again, which is phosphorus and nitrogen. Normally, our level is anything above a 3.0 on nitrogen, it's gonna be out of compliance for the month. And I think we got a 4 and a 5, which isn't much. It's not like if we got 20s or 30s or anything, really, it's just by one number. And our phosphorus, instead of being a 0.05 or a 0.0 number, it was a 0.1 number. So it's very minute, but it's enough to breach our NPDES permit.
So what would be the usual suspects, or what would you determine would be at fault for that?
Maybe our plant, maybe the cold, because the cold weather, it could have been, because of the amount of people that are coming into town that we've seen, we're having to use our equalization basin, so that water gets really cold throughout the night. I mean, freezing cold. So we're adding that to our bug population, and sometimes that shocks them. So those bugs, I mean, right now
They
we're.
move real slow, right?
Yes, sir, and so that could be the problem. It just could be, like I said, maybe the lab just kind of got a higher number than what they normally give us, so.
Well, they would only give us that if that was what the data showed.
Exactly. So, and I'm confident that we'll pass, but I just wanted to give you guys a head up for the month of December, which is what we're on right now. It's not on this report that I'm giving,
Right.
but, I just thought I would just put that out there. Any questions on anything?
I don't recall this issue in the past, really.
Right, because, and it could be the aging infrastructure, it could be the fine screens that are allowing debris to come into the facility. that's why we kind of need to get these fine screens completed. It's been several years and ours are just, they're just letting debris in, and what that could also do is add to the hideout of phosphorus or nitrogen or things like that. So the sooner we can get those, I think the plant will run even better than what it is. I'm not saying that we're running bad, but, and like I
Well, I
said.
know you have pretty much a perfect score on these things, unlike a lot of communities, but the plant's not that old. I
No.
mean, we just paid it off, and so we're constantly adding to it. And the fine screens, we've got the final contract for that.
Yes, sir. And as soon as that happens, I actually talked to the sales rep from Ovivo who would be supplying those new fine screens if we did get them, and he said they're ready when we are. So as soon as we get that approved and get the final memorandum for everything, we'll jump on that, get them installed, and it shouldn't be a hard installation. They should be able to bring them to the door, remove one at a time, replace one at a time, remove the next one, because we have 3 of them. So, and it comes in sections. I thought it was a whole thing put together, but they can remove it in sections, and it should be a pretty quick, easy process to get the new ones in. If we would have gone with the Huber, on the other hand, it would have taken demolition of our influent channel and reconstruction. So this should be kind of a plug-and-play situation when we get the new ones in.
Okay.
And that's what I'm hoping for, and we'll get that as soon as we get that approval.
And there won't be any loss in production at the plant.
What's that?
There will not be any loss of production
No,
at the plant.
no, sir.
You'll be able to switch sides?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, Isaac, in that case, as I walked through there and kind of got an idea of it, it's no different than when you actually clean the screens before you would do the screen cleaning and then resume. Is that right? So that there's no real loss of process?
Right, because we do have 3 of them, and theoretically, they can each handle 4 million gallons, which that's kind of a false statement. But what we do when we clean them, actually we're doing it right now to get ready for our flows for the weekend. We take one down, and we still have 2 other fine screens, because if you could picture these as fine screens,
Right.
we take one down, we take the plates off, and we power wash it. We check the nozzles to make sure that it's cleaning properly. And then we button it all back up, we put it back in service, and then we take the center one down, and we do the same thing, and then we do the third one, and then we're back in process for the holiday weekends or whatever we're gonna come up upon. And we do that just so that they run properly and don't allow any kind of debris coming into the facility. We do it on a monthly to a bi-monthly schedule, just because that's what we're having to do to make them work the way they should be working. We're having to spray that debris off ourselves, but we're still making it work. But it'll be nice once we get those new fine screens, because then it'll alleviate a lot of those problems that we're having right now.
Okay, and you mentioned snow, and so you weren't alluding to the fact that we have a lot more people coming into town. You still think there's I&I?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. Yeah.
And I wouldn't say that just because I'm, but anytime I can see runoff on the side of the road when I come into town, I know that there's gonna be some that comes into the facility. And I'm not saying that's the whole problem with the nitrogen, but that adds to it because it dilutes in other words, the plant can handle sewage because it has all the organics that come along with sewage. But when you start adding surface water or, rainwater or river water, that the plant doesn't like that. It likes organics in it. It likes stuff that's living. It doesn't like sand or silt or dissolved solids, because those dissolved solids, like say you get a sample of it, it'll look a little bit cloudy. You'll have some settling, but the stuff that's brown in there, that's called dissolved solids. And what happens on our filters, it can handle the organics that normally come from sewage, but kind of our lugs that have capillaries that come out, those capillaries that allow the filters to run properly actually get plugged off with those dissolved solids. And that's where problem with I&I comes into play. But we're having to use more chemical to do our chemical cleans in order to alleviate that problem, which is a chlorine clean and as well as an acid clean. And we're making do with it. But that's the problem with I&I. once we get that alleviated, I think it'll be, I have noticed an improvement, but during big rainstorms and, it was after the McBride fire, that kind of, we noticed more coming in, but,
Well, and all those subsequent floods there, the damage that we had, so, yes, sir, Adam.
Chair Crawford, members of the board, I just wanted to, thinking about it, we kind of went back and started looking at some of the stuff in the McBride area, and one of the things that I keep going back to is, we still have that portion of line between, Circle and Sleepy Hollow lift station right there, and that was a big source of infiltration under those elm trees. We used to surcharge the manhole, on Sleepy Hollow and everything else, so that line is still it's still being used right now, until we get those two lift stations up, so I'm curious to see.
Once we get the new lift stations online, if the INI stops.
That's one of the things that I just, we put our heads together trying to, see.
Well, we've cambered every inch of the sewer line.
So that piece is the only piece that's really left that didn't get lined, besides this hazard mitigation portion, but that line is still in service right now. And that was one of our big infiltration points right there.
Okay.
It'll be interesting to find out, so.
and it's not huge, but it's still happening. And there might be some portions where we're not seeing, or I don't know. I mean, I can't answer that question. All I see is what comes into the facility, and I know what's normal and what's in excess, and, that's just the way, but that's the way it's always been since the beginning.
Right.
For 24 years, we've always had infiltration into the facility.
Yeah, but we've been working on it for years now to
Yes, sir.
seal everything up, so, okay.
Hopefully this,
Mr. Chair.
Yes, go ahead, Joey.
Isaac, back to your sampling, is the wastewater side the same as the water side, as if you get, you got your first batch had an issue? As long as you resample this month, if it comes back good, you're clear, right?
exactly. Yes,
I
sir.
commend you for taking it up there, because we know what carriers can do.
Yeah.
And if he had a carrier crack a bottle, then you would be in violation no matter what.
Well, we've
So
had
this
that.
way, it's guaranteed he's taking it, and
Yeah, we appreciate
Yeah,
it.
and that's why I didn't want there to be any excuse on
Exactly.
us failing, so. And the samples, they look good. We've been trying to do everything we can to make sure that and that's just a 24-hour sample that was just barely, out of compliance. It's like I said, it's not like if it's a massive number that we're just spewing out to the river or nothing, we didn't really
We
find.
understand, and we know how conscientious you are about that. You do not have mistakes
Yeah, we don't.
out there, and I know you're an excellent operator, and you know staff that are there. It's just that when you start getting nervous on certain things, then we want to make sure that we've responded, and I know we've planned on upgrades at the plant and with the screens that we've looked at on the headworks, and then the additional filters, and I know all things you're talking about with the acidation and all that you used to have to clean that with fats, oil, and greases. And we've implemented the fog program, and you have inspectors and all that stuff, so I applaud you with all that. So when you seem like you're not sure about where we're gonna be, and that's what we wanna make sure. We need to get the tools, whatever it takes to make sure that we're there, because we're real proud of our plant.
Yes, sir.
So on the fog, are we still communicating with folks at the tribe?
I'm not directly.
Yes, okay, Adam said yes. I
Yes,
know
we
that
are.
he's been working with them,
I
okay.
think we said that last week during the
So
review.
we're
Yes, sir.
still working on getting their fog down. Okay, I know it's acceptable, but we want to try to take less stress off of there as we can,
Yes, sir.
okay? And is your inspector still going?
Yeah, and he actually just went to a composting, seminar, and he did get his composting license, so that's also in part of the master plan, so he learned a lot of information as well as from visiting the Carlsbad site, so that was good knowledge for us to have.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Isaac. Does anybody have any more questions from Isaac?
Mr. Chairman, no, but Isaac, just to take a breath in, when you send specific samples to a certified lab and they run their controls, it's all right to be out once in a while. It actually looks better that way.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it looks too perfect. And so I think you should take a breath and think that that's well within the realm of possibility. If you had a trend over months of it being out of kilter, that would be another thing. But one outlier doesn't put you in the venal or the cardinal sin category.
I think Albuquerque, what, they have like 83 or, I forgot how many violation.
Yeah,
But I strive to
we
run
worry
that.
about our own backyard, and I know Adam's real happy that you've stolen two of his employees. And so,
We lent them 2 guys and,
I know, and I appreciate you working back because those guys are really facing a lot right now. I know you had another leak going on last night and today, so,
you know,
all right, we appreciate that.
try to help out where we can.
Yes, sir, Mayor.
Mayor, we don't have any problem of you guys stealing each other's employees, as long as you don't come down.
Still yours.
Again.
Well, you guys have a Merry Christmas and a
You
Happy New
too,
Year.
Isaac. Thank you.
I appreciate everything you guys do.
Thank you so much. We
Thank you for the hard
appreciate you and your staff out there doing a great job, so. And, we should have a new water resource manager soon. So,
Sounds great. Thank you very much.
By next year, for sure.
Thank you, Isaac.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Do we have any reports from the board?
None here.
Councilor Jackson, none?
None here.
Mayor?
No, sir.
Man, you guys are boring, all right.
Christmas.
Yes, we don't have anything on closed session, so that completes the business for today. This meeting is adjourned.
Good job.
Yep.
Hope y'all found that interesting.